Chapter 5 Paradise and Hell. Our friend, the doctor, was utterly confident this time, savoring the words slowly. To drop the bombshell, how can God, the all-merciful, the most compassionate, torture us for a sin limited in time, with a punishment eternal in hell, abiding therein forever? And who are we, and what is our worth compared to the grandeur of God, that he would take such vengeance? Man is but an atom or a speck in the universe, and relative to God's majesty, he is far lesser than that. Indeed, he is nothing. And we correct the doctor's information by saying, first, that we are not an atom or a speck in the universe, and that our status before God is not insignificant, but rather immense. Did he not breathe into us of his Spirit? Did not the angels prostrate to us? Did he not promise us the inheritance of the heavens and the earth? And he says to us, "We have honored the children of Adam, and carried them on land and sea, and provided them with good things, and favored them over many of those we have created with marked favor. There is then within us something of God's Spirit, and we, relative to the universe, are not an atom or a speck. We may appear, by looking at our bodies, as an atom or a speck relative to the vast, expansive universe. But do we not contain this universe and comprehend it with our minds? Do we not grasp its laws and its celestial spheres, and chart the orbit for every planet? Then an astronaut lands on the moon and reveals that all we had comprehended with our minds on Earth was correct, and all we had charted was precise. Does this not indicate that in terms of our spirit, we are greater than the universe, that we contain it? And that the poet was right when he addressed man saying, "You consider yourself a small body, while within you is enfolded the greater world," and that man, as the Sufis say, is the comprehensive book, and the universe is its pages. Therefore, man is of immense status and great import. He is from the Spirit of God, and his deeds necessitate accountability. As for the sin limited in time, for which God holds us accountable with a punishment unlimited in eternity, this is another fallacy into which our dear self-confident doctor has fallen. For God says about those eternally abiding in hell, when they request to return to the world to act differently than they did, had they been sent back, they would have returned to what they were forbidden. And indeed they are liars. That is, their sin is not a sin limited in time, rather it is a fixed trait that would recur at all times. Had they been sent back, they would have returned to their sin, and indeed they are liars. It is therefore an eternal attribute in the soul, not a transient slip in a transient worldly circumstance. And he says about them in the 18th verse of Surat al-Mujadala, "On the day when God will resurrect them all, they will swear to him as they swear to you, thinking that they are on something. But indeed, they are the liars." Here is another form of insistence and defiance, reaching the point where they confront God with lies and false oaths while they are before him on the day of the great assembly, when veils are lifted and covers are removed. This is the ultimate insolence. Here, we are not faced with a sin limited in time, but rather with a sin continuous in time, and after time and all times are rolled up. Here we are faced with a soul that carries with it its eternal evil. Hence, the perpetuity of punishment for this soul is just. And for this reason, the verse says about them, with clarity, "Thus God will show them their deeds as regrets upon them, and they will not leave the fire." And Ibn Arabi says that mercy for these people is that they will become accustomed to the fire, and that fire, in eternal perpetuity, becomes their suitable environment. Undoubtedly, there is an affinity between some criminal souls and the fire, for some of those souls are, in reality, a flame of envy, malice, lust, greed, and a blaze of anger, resentment, rebellion, and seething criminal feelings, as if they were fire itself. Such souls cannot live in peace, nor can they live without igniting war around them and without setting fires ablaze, because fire is their environment and their nature. For such souls, their sentence to the fire is the just judgment, and this fate is a matter of placing a thing in its proper place. Had they been admitted to paradise, would they have savored it? Did they not reject peace on earth? We ought to understand the fire and paradise in the hereafter with a broad perspective. The fire in the hereafter is not a grill, and what occurs therein is not burning in the worldly sense. For God says that the sinners in the fire speak and curse, and that the fire contains a tree with fruit, the tree of Zakum, which emerges from the bottom of hell, as it contains scalding water which the tormented drink. Such a fire, which contains a tree and contains water, and where people speak, must be a fire other than the fire that we know. Every time a nation enters, it curses its sister, until when they are all gathered together therein, the last of them will say to the first, "Our Lord, these misled us, so give them a double punishment of the fire." He will say, "For each is double, but you do not know." So if you do not do it, and you will never do it, then fear the fire whose fuel is people and stones, prepared for the disbelievers. This fire is therefore of the realm of the unseen, and what has been reported about it are but indications. One should not understand from this discourse that we deny sensory punishment and say, "Is religion an opium?" in favor of moral punishment, for sensory punishment is explicit, and doubt about it is not permissible. We believe in its existence, but rather we say that the details of this punishment and its modality, just as the modality of that fire and its detailed attributes, are an unknown unseen. It appears from the Quranic indications to be a fire other than the fire that we know, just as our bodies in enduring that fire are other than the fragile earthly bodies we have now. The same applies to paradise. It is not a market for vegetables, bananas, pomegranates, and grapes. Rather, those Quranic descriptions are merely indications, parables, and approximations for the mind, like the paradise promised to the righteous. In it are rivers of unpolluted water, and rivers of milk whose taste never changes, and rivers of wine delicious to the drinkers. Like paradise, meaning we set an example to bring the understanding of paradise closer to you, but the truth is that the details are unseen. No soul knows what has been hidden for them of comfort for the eyes, as a reward for what they used to do. And hasten to forgiveness from your Lord and a paradise as vast as the heavens and the earth, prepared for the righteous. It cannot therefore be merely a garden. And we will remove whatever is in their breasts of resentment, and rivers will flow beneath them. Here are souls purified in a way we do not know. Paradise, then, is likewise unseen, and this discourse does not deny sensory bliss, for we believe that paradise is both sensory and spiritual bliss, just as the fire is both sensory and spiritual torment. But what we wish to emphasize is that the details of this bliss or torment and their modalities are unseen, and that paradise is not a market for fruits and vegetables, nor is the fire an oven for roasting meat. Torment in the hereafter is not tyranny from God upon his servants. Rather, it is purification, enlightenment, and rectification, and mercy. What would God do with punishing you if you are grateful and believe? And ever is God appreciative and knowing. The original principle is the absence of punishment, and God does not torment the knowing believer. Rather, he establishes his punishment upon the rejecting denier, for whom all means of guidance, enlightenment, and instruction have failed. And we will surely make them taste the nearer punishment short of the greater punishment, that perhaps they might return. If all these means prove unsuccessful, and the denier persists in his denial, nothing remains but to confront him with torment to enlighten him. And enlightenment to the truth is mercy itself. If God had left them in their blindness and ignorance, and neglected them, it would have been in his right and injustice. Glory be to him, exalted and high above that. Therefore the presentation to the fire for these ignorant ones is a form of care, and all God's actions are mercy. He mercies the ignorant through hellfire as discipline and instruction, and mercies the knowing through paradise as bounty and honor. He said, "My punishment, I afflict with it whom I will."
and my mercy encompasses all things. My punishment, I afflict with it whom I will, and my mercy encompasses all things. Thus he made his mercy encompass everything, even the punishment. Then let us ask the doctor, would God be more just in his view if he equated the wrongdoers and the wronged, and the murderers and their victims, and offered everyone a tea party in the hereafter? Is justice in the doctor's view that black and white be made equal? And to those who find it improbable that God would torture us, we say, does God not indeed torture us in our world? And what are old age, sickness, and cancer but a torment in itself? And who created the microbe? Are these not all warnings that we are before a God who can indeed torture us?